The Mariners deal their closer as the trade deadline approaches. Welcome in. I'm Kainani Stevens, Ty Gonzalez from Locked On Mariners. We're covering all the trades as they happen. This is one that may have been rumored to happen, but maybe not exactly as it worked out. Sewald is going to the Diamondbacks. Were you surprised a little bit by the return?
Yeah, the return did surprise me a little bit, but also we're still, as we're recording this, about 24 hours away from the actual deadline. So I think there's still moves that are going to happen here. I still think that that Jerry Dipoto and Justin Holland are still going to be working on some things here. So I don't think we have the full picture necessarily. And maybe we'll get into that a little bit here. But overall, in a vacuum, this is a really nice return for Paul Sewald. You got a year and a half of a closer who's not really a household name. Obviously, it's been a seller's market for the relievers in particular. You have to wonder, even if you're the Mariners, who are 4.5 games out of a playoff spot right now, what could you get for Paul Sewald? And they ended up getting 2 major league bats and another interesting prospect who's pretty much on the doorstep, might be able to get a cup of coffee at the major league level at the end of this year, or definitely pretty early on next year, in Ryan Bliss. So from that aspect, I think this is a great deal. But as far as the 2023 Mariners go, I think they got worse today.
It's such a weird spot to be in, right? Because they're kind of still in it, but they're not necessarily so it's not going to be necessarily a fire sale. But what other moves do you think could potentially be on the horizon for them?
Well, I think that maybe the rumors about Teoscar Hernandez getting traded are a little more founded now. Now that they have pulled the trigger on a Sewald deal, maybe they are open to trading Ty France. I don't think that you're going to be able to get a whole lot for Ty France because he's a first base only who doesn't hit for a lot of power and is kind of struggling right now. So I don't know if that's the smartest move. But if they're still serious about 2023, then I would expect that they have another deal lined up for a Sewald replacement. I think that's very important for them because Sewald was kind of the only stable reliever that they've had all year. A lot of other guys, Andres Munoz, Matt Brash, have been up and down all year long. So you're trading one of your most trusted high leverage reliever here in Sewald. So again, if they're focused on 2023 still, they need to get a Sewald replacement. They still need a number 5 starter who can eat some innings and get them, and take some of the load off of Brian Wu and not put as much pressure on someone like Emerson Hancock to pick up those innings. And they still need at least another outfield bat and maybe another infielder, even though they added Josh Rojas here and he can play some third, he can play some second. Rojas hasn't had a good year and he's been banged up all year. So I don't know if that's necessarily an answer. He's better than Colton Wong, but Colton Wong is such a low bar to clear that I don't know if you've actually made much of an upgrade here with Rojas. So yeah, if they're still focused on 2023, then I'm that's what I would look at. But if they're just straight up selling right now, if that's what it is, then yeah, I think Teoscar Hernandez is gone. I think Ty France could be gone, and we'll see on anyone else. Maybe there's some surprises.
Obviously, we still got that next 24 hours to kind of figure this out. But if they do kind of toss in the towel, if you want to put it that way, what kind of prospects would you look for? Obviously, you can never have enough pitching, but is there something else that you kind of look at as a whole for the future that they really need to address?
Well, it's a similar return to this, right? Guys that are either major league ready or right there on the doorstep. If you're the Mariners, with where they are right now, you really have little to no interest in guys who are 2, 3, 4 years away from the big leagues. Because this offseason, if you are kind of punting 2023, this offseason, you're not rebuilding, you're just retooling. You're getting ready for another run next year because you have Julio and you have JP Crawford and you have all these guys that are either in their prime or they're just good right now. Like you want to take advantage of that while you can. So yeah, it's guys like Dominic Canzone who you've added here, who's crushed at every level of the minor leagues and is now finally in the majors, and you think get something out of him. And again, you got all this club control, right? So yeah, guys that are right there or about to be right there, like a Ryan Bliss as well. So very similar idea there.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens in the next 24 hours or so. Ty, thank you for joining us. We'll check in with Locked On Mariners for everything else that goes down.
Thank you for having me.